I'm trying to understand why it's secret to begin with, by the way, Ryan.
Yeah, that seems really suspect to me.
Any thoughts on what's going on, the jockeying for this leadership role in the Senate?
I think bottom line is I'm not 100% sure, but it just seems to me like it shouldn't be, something that's not out in the open. That seems like the Democrats' way to do
And I know markets want clarity, so we need to see some clarity. What do you think?
So I think this is a long-held tradition of the Senate where they like to protect their individual votes. The senators they're all elected by their own states. They all think they could be president. Every single one of them wants to be able to have their right to make that choice, and that's part of why they do a secret ballot, so they don't feel as pressured by outside forces. I do think this is an interesting choice of who is most qualified to run the Senate majority and execute on an agenda.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the argument you'll hear from Senator Thune or Senator Cornyn, that they are more experienced and better situated to move an agenda quickly, whereas Senator Rick Scott sort of says, hey, man, I'm the outside guy. I ran a business, and I think I could come in and change things here in the Senate.
Well, by the way, somebody leaked it the other day, the votes and where everybody stands, and it looked like John Thune was in the lead. Jonathan, your reaction? What do you think happens here?
Yeah, it seems like John Thune's in the lead, but I think your point is great. It's like, why isn't this open? Like, why should there be any scenario where they're having secret ballots hidden from their constituents? I know it's a tradition, but I think the American people will be served greatly by people being on the record as who they're voting for.
Well, nobody wants another Mitch McConnell situation. And that's the point I was trying to make earlier, where you've got the leader of the Senate and the president of the United States not aligned. And that's what we had during Trump and McConnell's reign. President Trump continues to round out his cabinet and makes a surprising pick from the Fox family. Trump nominating combat veteran and Fox and Friends weekend co-host Pete Hegseth for defense secretary. Joining me now to talk more about it is the Big Money Show co-host, Brian Brenberg. Brian grew up with Pete Hegseth.
Indeed.
Wow.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to pull any punches here. Pete is an awesome pick for this position. He's one of those guys, you probably know people like this in your life. They can do anything. Smart, tough, fearless. They can solve any problem. That's who this guy is. Now, he's going to get opposition. You've already seen it. There we are at the bus stop in second grade, by the way.
Wow, you guys
on
know
the
each other
street.
that long that you went to school all the way back to second grade.
Second grade. I've known the guy for almost 40 years. And I'm just telling you that if he puts his mind to it, he can solve any problem. Here's the thing. People are going to look on paper and say, seems like an unconventional fit, right?
Yeah.
Because of what he's done. He has such amazing experience on the battlefield. He has such amazing leadership experience. He loves America so deeply, and he is so aligned with President Trump. And they are committed to making our military a lethal fighting force based on meritocracy, not a social experiment. And I think that is just so important. There's us that's our basketball team
This
in
is
high
you
school.
in high school? Oh, God, look at you guys.
He's sitting on the floor. You can look at his face. He's already got that look in his eye. I'm the guy.
I'm going to be defense secretary.
Tall guy.
You're always tall, Brian.
And, this confirmation fight, I think, is going to be a fascinating one for him.
Yeah.
But the folks on the Senate Armed Forces Committee who will go after him have no idea what they're up against. He will be so prepared. He will be so committed. I feel sorry for them if they try to skewer him, because it's going to come right back at him in the most competent way possible.
Well, I mean, look, he certainly served our country with honor with the tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. When did he become such a patriot, in your view? Has he always been like that? He's such a patriot.
He's always had a zealous personality. He's always been a guy who's very loyal, very tough. But it was 9/11 that I think really changed the perspective for him. And it was like immediately he wanted to be a part of what America was doing, defending itself. And watching him in that evolution was frankly just humbling for me as an old friend. But America should take heart. This is a guy you want on the front lines, and he's a guy you want at the highest levels making big decisions about the future of the country. And I just think it's a huge win for America that Trump had the brilliance to see that in Pete.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can't say really enough about the fact that people question Trump's decisions.
Yes.
And then they come back and they say, oh, okay, I didn't think of it that way. I didn't see it that way. So it's hard to stick your neck out and say, I don't trust President Trump on any of these appointments, because he knows and he's seen a lot of this before anybody else. Same with J.D. Vance. Everybody complained about J.D. Vance. It actually ended up being a great partner for him.
I mean, I'm in unique spot to be able to evaluate what Trump did here. It's brilliant that he could see in Pete what somebody who's known him for 40 years can see, and he could see it in a much shorter time frame. Totally amazing.
You know what I think is great about this pick? One of the biggest issues our military is having right now is recruiting. They can't recruit,
Right.
and part of it's because of this woke stuff, and Pete's been strong on that, and part of it is he is what young men, young women are going to look up to as a patriot, the enthusiasm, the energy. So this is really going to solve a couple of the military's biggest problems right off the bat. And you don't get this with some, maybe some retired somebody or somebody. You got somebody that's in the mix, that's been in the thick of things. And I think it's going to really do a lot to elevate the morale of the people in the military and bring new people in.
That's half the job.
Right,
That's
exactly.
Have you spoken
and that's
to Pete
been a failure.
since this news broke?
Well, yeah, I've exchanged messages with him. He's kind of a busy guy. He's the kind of guy who I like to get beer with in life. I don't think it's going to happen as much anymore in his new role, but he is an aspirational guy. When you grow up with somebody like that, it's like almost like you're amazed and kind of jealous. Like, why does he get it? Why is he so good at what he does? But he is. And in America right now, if that's the kind of tough, fierce, loyal American that you want to see in our country, this is the guy to inspire that. And I couldn't be happier for him, but I really couldn't be happier for everybody who will benefit from his wise service.
Yeah. Congratulations, Pete Hegseth, from all
Indeed.
of your
Way to
colleagues
go,
here.
brother.
Brian, thank you.
All right.
Brian Brenberg.